Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Wake Up. And I really like this one. They're doing a really good job of having real focused storytelling with this. And it's kind of broken up into two parts. One's dealing with May's situation, and the other one's dealing with the kind of situation that they're trying to figure out with Nadir and all that going on. And in the beginning, we kind of see everything kind of condensed for how May got into the situation that she did. Her going to Radcliffe's place, getting captured, all that kind of stuff leading up to her pretty much trying to escape. And seeing how everything was going on, we're like, what's going on with this? And what was really kind of cool, as we were going through the episodes, we find out that seeing all the kind of like simulations and stuff that they were doing, we see the spa thing and why she was kind of freaking out, because it's rudimentary simulation. And seeing it eventually get to the point of kind of Matrix-like things. Because at first in the spa, she would try to leave or deviate at any kind of point from the program. She would be back to the starting point. With the spa, like waking up and like, what? No, this isn't right. And of course, going through the fight and then putting her back in and putting her in a situation where she would try and fight. But that still didn't completely work, because she would fight Ada, and we'd have really good fight scenes between her and Ada where you think she's kind of winning, almost trying to escape, and then of course she kicks Ada off this balcony, and you find out that she's still in the simulation, and that she keeps doing it, and her mind keeps getting wiped, but she's getting faster and faster at it. And of course that's like, oh god, that's May. She's built for battle like that. She will continue to figure out how to get out of that kind of trap. That's her expertise. And that kind of dovetails into getting into the other portions of the show. So we see that the group has the idea that Daisy has to be sworn in and sign the Sokovia Accords and kind of answer for her undercover ops and all that. So while they're there, Coulson and Yo-Yo will go in and plant bugs to try and figure out more of Senator Nadir's plans. And it's like, oh, that's simple and straightforward, right? Talbot's like against the idea, like, politicians and everything are crap. This is not going to end well, and I'm totally against this. I've saved your bacon and all this. Listen to me. And Coulson's like, no, we got to do this. And of course, he wants to be more proactive and preemptive against these, and Talbot, of course, is giving him some shit like, you think I'm just being reactionary and stuff? I've had to deal with a lot of crap with this. And you kind of feel for Talbot, but he's still an arrogant ass, so it's like, eh. So, they're going through that, trying to get through the op. We also get some other interesting character stuff going on, where we see Yo-Yo and Mac taking their relationship more seriously and getting physically involved. And of course, they think they've got more time because they think Mac is going to be with them, but he has to go on a personal thing. It's like, that's kind of weird, because we've gotten confirmation from Radcliffe that there is a second LMD in play. And this is trying to make you think that Mac could potentially be that second LMD, because it couldn't really be Daisy or Mace or Coulson, because those would be too obvious, and Coulson, he's trying to get information from. Why would he have two robots playing off of each other? So it's got to be kind of like a low tier one that would be plausible. And that you kind of have going through your mind as you're watching this. So you get to see Daisy being questioned by Senator Nadir with Mace at her side. And before that's going on, Mace is talking about being a performer and acting like you belong in certain places, and having a nice moment to really connect with Daisy, because after the reveal of him not being an Inhuman and not having all the super strength and all that, I kind of feel that his character is getting a little bit better. Like, he's like, I've been on the wrong foot with these guys. I don't have to act all the time. I can at least just try and help. And that's kind of a cool place for his character to be in. I'm really excited to see how they're going to evolve him going forward with this. If he eventually could potentially become an Inhuman, or if something happens that he does get powers or whatnot, how that'll come into play and how that'll change the dynamic. So, Daisy pretty much gets put on the defensive a little bit in this, because Senator Nadir's talking about, like, oh, do you only want to help Inhumans, or Americans. As Daisy's like, the Inhumans are Americans. They've usually been victimized or whatnot, so that's kind of what's going to happen. I'm going to try and help them as much as possible, but also help anyone. That's what S.H.I.E.L.D. does. And then talking about her illegal activities of like the $7 million that she had taken from banks and all that as hacking and all this. And that's where they really get hurt, because that dovetails into everything that's going on with them trying to bug Senator Nadir's office. And she's talking about how, well, either you did something illegal or S.H.I.E.L.D. did something illegal and condoning you to do this and disperse this to charities or whatnot, because that should have come to the government. And as she's talking about this, it proves her point with S.H.I.E.L.D.'s illegal activities, because they have specific things in place to take out Yo-Yo, this kind of like stun bomb or whatnot. Because just as they were about to do, like, finish up bugging or whatnot, Yo-Yo looks at this thing in the drawer, it knocks her out, and of course security forces come in and then bring them in to Senator Nadir. And it's like, oh shit, how are they going to get out of this? Because then we see that Talbot Mace talks with Nadir and the rest of the committee, and talking about how there's going to be a Senate committee and an inquiry into all this and to investigate the actions of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like, this is pretty big. Coulson even talked to him about this as like, they can use specifically to have things for Yo-Yo, so we've got a leak. And at first he thinks it's Talbot, and Talbot's pissed off at this. And he is an ass, but rightfully so. He has stuck his neck out a lot, even though he's been antagonistic towards S.H.I.E.L.D. in the past, to make S.H.I.E.L.D. legitimate. And of course it's funny to see Mace try and like calm both sides and be that moderator and like be like, no guys, come on, we got this. But Coulson is still propounding on the theory that there is a leak. And that's what they have to really try and find. Who could be leaking this? Is it someone different? Is it Radcliffe's LMD? What's going on with this? So, then going forward, we get something really pivotal as they're trying to figure out what's going on. We had seen in this episode that Fitz and Simmons were coming to a head with the whole Ada thing, because Simmons thinks it's more of an obsession, kind of, I think, an infatuation thing with Ada, whereas Fitz finally comes and says, no, I'm investigating, because at first they think Ada gave Radcliffe everything needed to pretty much scuttle the mission. And it's like, not exactly. Because then we see that May LMD went to Radcliffe and pretty much called him on his bullshit, like, what am I? And talking about the programming and that you can't do anything. She tried to hit him and couldn't. And seeing her try and fight and be like, okay, this is the cool stuff, because this is an android that's figured out it is not exactly what it seems, but because of the memories that it has received from May, as we saw with the neural link going on in the past, that she wants to do what's right and tell Coulson and everything, but he's like, your program is going to stop you from that. And just as we're seeing that Radcliffe is trying to figure out stuff about May, talking about like, she's still fighting this battle in the past, that's when S.H.I.E.L.D. busts in and figures out Radcliffe's plan pretty much and arrests him. And it was kind of effective to see Simmons and all of them come in and be like, he's probably the leak or whatnot. Having him in that room and seeing Fitz talk to him and be like, what are you talking about? And then he starts putting everything together, figuring things out. He asks for the guard's gun and shoots him, and that's the Radcliffe LMD. And then we pull out and we see that Nadir has been looking at it and that Radcliffe knew that this was his only play once the failed attempt to get the Darkhold with Ada had run its course. Now, of course, the May LMD, we have to see if she will break free of her programming or continue to try and get the Darkhold, because she's trying to, like, get together with Coulson, pretty much. And that's kind of interesting that she's acting on May's kind of feelings, even though May has not acted on those feelings yet. That's a kind of, how is this going to affect Coulson and Coulson's relationship with May? That's going to be pretty good stuff going forward. So while we're getting that as well, we finally figure out stuff with Mac and Yo-Yo, of course. And they're talking in their room, and Mac's like, I went to see my ex, and she's like, I don't want you going, I'm not going to be in this if you're going out with other women and all that stuff. That's not my thing. We'll just end it here. And then Mac explains that this was a pretty serious relationship. They had a daughter, Hope, who had lived for only 4 days and then died. And that was like 11 years ago, and it was hard on her, so he went to kind of console her and all that stuff. And then, of course, Yo-Yo understands. It's like, well, I feel pretty shitty about that. But they kind of reconciled, and it was a nice kind of character building, relationship building moment. It wasn't too sappy, and it wasn't too overly dramatic. It was just pretty matter of fact and kind of like building more upon Mac. And it just added more depth to his character, and that he's really this nice guy who wants to help and fix things. It works with his mechanic persona. And then Yo-Yo, of course, is fast and everything, so she kind of wants to get stuff done quickly, get information quickly, and usually that's not exactly how it works. And it was kind of nice to see their differences kind of working out and take shape. It's not an annoying relationship. I kind of like it when it's done in an interesting way and not completely overly dramatic. So we'll have to see how that goes on. So now that we've kind of got the idea that we've got Radcliffe's LMD, everything's going on, he's talking to Nadir, and Nadir's like, well, you gotta meet with the superior. It's like, here's gonna be our kind of main bad. What's this gonna be going on? And that's a kind of cool little tantalizing bit that we've got. Then we get to the end of the episode and we figure out that Radcliffe had learned stuff from his LMDs talking with May's LMD, that he has made a better and pretty much, I think, going to be a very effective prison for May in the whole Bahrain memory and trying to fix that for her and where she actually saves the little girl instead of killing the little girl. And it's going to be very hard for May to get out of that, I think, because it gives her the Calvaroy name, but it takes away the stain of it. It kind of redeems her in a way. That's going to be a really hard thing for her to break out of. But knowing May, she knows and calls bullshit. Eventually, it will not jive correctly with her. Because she has lived with this guilt for years, and that just can't be done away in a simulation. There's going to be a breaking point or something that even the most perfect prison will eventually show its bars. And that's where it's going to get real tricky, and to see May's true ingenuity of how she will be able to get out of wherever she's at, because Radcliffe and Ada's taken her to another location that's probably even more secure than Radcliffe's place was, and she's in pretty big trouble. She's going to be getting near the Watchdogs and the Superior and whatever kind of new Hydra-esque organization is going to come out of the ashes of Hydra. So I'm really looking forward to where this is going to go and where this season's also going to end, because we're building momentum towards something. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited by that because it's going to be something. It's going to be in the same vein of what we've seen before, but we don't know where the players are going to be and how they're going to be affected. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.